What's going on, Giants fans? You're watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. I appreciate everyone that's clicked on today's show and joined us live to break down the latest Giants news and rumors. And in today's show, we'll talk about Wan'Dale Robinson and how he's impressing at Giants OTAs, and how him and Daniel Jones are already kind of showing off the chemistry that they've built up through 7 Giants OTAs. And then we'll break down Darius Slayton, the trade rumors. They've gotten a little bit quiet, but they're still out there, and there's people that are calling about Darius Slayton, and we'll see. Has he played himself out of trade rumors? Because, look, he's really been one of the only consistent, healthy wide receivers at OTAs, with Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney, and Sterling Shepard wearing the red non-contact practice jersey. But first, let's get the comment section rolling. Let's let everybody take a seat and sit down and get ready for today's live show. So get in the comment section. Let me know where you're watching from. Shout out your city. Stand up. Rep it for me. We are going live from the Chat Sports Studios in Dallas, Texas. We are in enemy territory. A whole bunch of Cowboys fans in the office, and as a Giants fan, that's not very fun. I see some people are predicting the Giants record in the comment section. I love that. Twizzy says I got them going 10-7 or 9-8. Dave Jones also says 8-9 or 9-8. Poop Monkey or Poopy Monkey says I think a solid 9-7 wins. Loop Gaming says, I hope you're well. Loop, I hope you're doing well as well. Mario, what's going on? Pierre, what's going on, my guy? Pierre is watching from Waco. David is watching from Toledo. Julianne Furnace Green is watching from Fairfield, Connecticut. Hey, Julianne, how you doing? Luke says he hates the Cowboys. I'm right there with you. He's also from Birmingham, England, he says. Okay, that's cool. Anthony's watching from Rhode Island, I'm pretty sure that is. And Mario is watching from the ATL Atlanta. Shout out to Lou Will, Lemon Pepper Lou for that. Karen says that she is watching from Long Island, New York. That's awesome. That's where I was born, and that's where a lot of my dad's side of the family is from. I want to ask you guys this question as well. Who do you think is going to have more TDs in 2022 for the New York Football Giants? Look, both these guys on screen didn't score a touchdown last year, so they can only go up from where they were last year. If you think Kadarius Toney is going to have more touchdowns in 2022 than Kenny Golladay, type 89 his jersey number in the comment section. Or if you think Kenny Golladay is going to have a bounce-back year and get back to being a guy that scores a lot of touchdowns, someone that once led the NFL in touchdowns in a season, you can go down in the comment section and type 19. If I had to say today, I think Kadarius Toney will have more touchdowns than Kenny Golladay. I just think Toney kind of fits the offense the Giants want to run a little bit more. They want to run the speed and space, kind of a spread offense that you see on Saturdays and Sundays in the NFL, and I think that benefits Toney a little bit more. Pierre says he thinks Kenny Golladay is going to have more touchdowns. Dave Jones says 89. We got Marcus watching from upstate New York, Syracuse. Anthony says, my wife is from Long Island. That's awesome. Neymar says 19. The Big Mo says 19. Timothy, what up, man? He says 89 because this year, Kadarius Toney will have a breakout year by leading the NFL with 24 receiving touchdowns. Timothy, if Kadarius Toney has 24 touchdowns this season, I will be a very, very happy camper. Lupe Gaming says Golladay has to improve under the new system, and hopefully Daboll fits his system to his strengths. I think he will. I think Daboll is going to put both these guys in position to succeed much more than they were last year with Jason Garrett and Freddie Kitchens. Corinne says 89. John says 19. Neil says 89. Keep getting those votes in. But I wanted to show this picture today, and shame on my producer because he didn't know who the guy in the jean jacket or little sweater vest was, and I had to whip him around in shape, but he's not a Giants fan, so that's okay. But Justin Tuck was at Giants OTAs today, and I love what Brian Daboll and Joe Shane are doing. They're bringing back the Giants greats, the guys who have been there and done that in Giants blue and reached the highest peak that you can in the NFL and won Super Bowls. And they're back in the building talking to the young players, teaching them what it means to be a New York Football Giant and what it means to wear that Giants blue. I love seeing the old guys in the building interacting with the young guys. So let's show some love to Justin Tuck. Type 9, number 91, his jersey number in the comments section. He was one of my favorite players on those Giants teams growing up. I talked with my producer, Matthew Peterson. The face mask he used to have with like the 17 lines across his face, he just looked like a badass out there. out of Notre Dame. He repped being a Giant just as well and as hard as anybody else. I love Justin Tuck, so let's show him some love. Type number 91 in the comment section, his jersey number, to show my guy Jay Tuck some love. But I want to ask this question as well as we get closer and closer to the actual showtime. Let people still click on that notification. What position group are you most worried about when it comes to the Giants and the 2022 NFL season? Last night, I went on a Philadelphia Eagles podcast on YouTube, and I graded every single position group the Giants have. And we talked about what position groups the Giants had advantages over the Eagles and what position groups the Eagles had advantage over the Giants. And the position groups I'm most worried about for the Giants are the corners and the inside linebackers. The corners, I think that goes without really saying much. We know James Bradberry is no longer on this team. Adoree Jackson is going to have to step up and be that cornerback number one. And then cornerback two, it's going to be Aaron Robinson. You're going to have a fight in the slot between Cordell Flott and Darnay Holmes. There's a lot of young pieces in that secondary group, and also the inside linebacker group. I like Blake Martinez a lot, but a guy that really wasn't an uber athlete coming off an ACL injury, I have concerns if he's ever going to get back to being that same player. I like Tate Crowder a lot. He's a really cool story. He went from Mr. Irrelevant to being one of the most consistent players on the Giants the past couple of years. But is he really a starting caliber linebacker in the National Football League? So corner and inside linebacker, those are my two biggest concerns, but I want to hear from you Giants fans. Let me know. The Big Mo says secondary. Anthony Raza, what's going on, Ant? He says corners. John says kicker. You don't got to worry about Graham Gano. He's one of the best in the business. Dave Jones says cornerbacks. Lupe Gaming says linebackers. Eric, he's from Staten Island, and he says they're going 9-8. Last place schedule should help. Yeah, I agree with that. Neymar says I worry about the corners. So does Karen. I don't know. Am I saying it right? Am I saying it wrong? Let me know in the comment section, please. Naz says Eagles got better corners and our linebackers inside behind a little bit. Caesar says cornerback, and Timothy also says corner. Pierre says linebacker, and John says punter. Yes, punter is definitely a question. What about this, though? Who is a better quarterback? Who was a bigger face for the New York Giants? Which guy did you like watching play more on Sundays wearing Giants blue and red? Is it Eli Manning? Type number 10 in the comment section. Or if you're a Phil Simms guy, maybe you're an older person watching these shows and you liked the glory days of the New York Giants when you were growing up and you got to see guys like Phil Simms win the Giants a Super Bowl. Let me know. Type 10 for Eli Manning. Type 11 for Phil Simms. Corinne, I appreciate you. Thank you for correcting me. I appreciate that. We got some 10s coming in from Tyler, Philip, Caesar. Pierre says both. The Big Mo says both. Corinne says 10. Dave says 10. We got Anthony getting a question. I like that. But yeah, let me know. Who do you like more? Who do you think was a better quarterback for the New York Football Giants? Is it Eli Manning or Phil Simms? Speaking of quarterbacks, though, the one under center this year, he's going to be wearing number 8. And we've seen him there for a couple of years now. And I think this is a very fair question to ask at this point. Do you believe in Daniel Jones? Do you think he's the guy that can lead this franchise to get back to being a respectable franchise, one that can compete in the NFC East, that can compete to get this team into the playoffs? Let me know. Do you believe in Daniel Jones? Type Y for yes, or you can go down in the comments section and then type no. Karen, okay. I don't know why I'm messing that name up. Karen, I gotcha. Yeah, honestly, shame on me. I got to be better. I'm just not bringing my A game right now. Well, we got some 10s and some 11s rolling in. Pierre says yes, he believes in him. So does Philip, Mario, Private, Pierre, John, Rosario, King, Arrow. Timothy says yes. Dave says yes. Tyler says yes. With the new coaching staff, he can get a whole lot better. And I agree with that. I think a lot of people say, can Brian Daboll make Daniel Jones the next Josh Allen? That answer is no. Daniel Jones will never be the next Josh Allen. But can Brian Daboll make Daniel Jones the best version of Daniel Jones? I think that's more of a fair question, and I think that's something that's very attainable. As a coach, you got to put your guys in position to succeed, and that's why Daboll has this job for what he did for Josh Allen. We also got 2 mailbags coming up into today's show. Anthony Raza already got a question in. And if you want your questions to pop up on screen, make sure you use hashtag Giants in your question. Just include it somewhere, back, middle, or end. It really doesn't matter. But that signifies to our software and my producer, Petey, to get that question up on screen. You'll have your picture up on screen, your username, and any question you ask, I'll answer it. If you want to guarantee a way to get on today's show, you can always super chat. That goes a long way. That supports the show, and it lets my bosses know that these live shows, Giants Now fans are really enjoying them, and they're tuning in, and they're also supporting by super chatting. So if you want to be a part of today's show, use hashtag Giants, or you can super chat. Super chats will skip the line, and every single one will get on the show. But if you're ready for the real show to start, for us to start breaking down the latest Giants news and rumors and answering your questions in the comments section, like this video. We got 73 people watching and 21 likes. We all know the saying. Those are rookie numbers. Let's get to 35 likes as I get a sip of water real quick. Hit that like button. If you haven't yet, go down right now, hit that like button so we can get today's show rolling. We'll break down some Darius Slayton trade rumors. Are the Giants still shopping Darius Slayton after he's played pretty well at Giants OTAs through the first 7 practices? And then Wan'Dale Robinson, the rookie wide receiver out of Kentucky, the second-round draft pick, is really impressing at Giants OTAs. We'll break that down, and I think Brian Daboll had some really cool and interesting quotes about Wan'Dale Robinson. So we'll show you those, and we'll talk about that. Then we also have 2 mailbags. We're going to actually start with a mailbag in today's show. So if you want to be featured, you got to use hashtag Giants. My producer in my ear right now is saying we don't have enough questions right now. So look, maybe we can just hang it up, not do the show, no mailbags, no rumors. If we don't get enough questions, ask me whatever. Ask me what I like to do in my free time. It doesn't matter. Just use hashtag Giants in the comment section so we can get rolling with the New York Football Giants rumors mailbag. All righty. I think we're just about getting ready. Timothy, make sure it's hashtag Giants. You have a hashtag, then a space, then a Giants. Just put all those together like a peanut butter jelly sandwich. They got to be right on top of each other. All righty. I think I'm getting the signal from my producer that we're ready. So let's do it. Let's break down the latest Giants news and rumors right now. Welcome into New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. In today's show, we have a Giants Rumors mailbag where we answer your questions, which aired from our live show on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. And today's show is presented by Aura. Shout out to them. An all-in-one digital safety tool that will help you protect yourself online from all the frauds and the scammers out there. You can get started today with a 14-day free trial at aura.com/chatsports. I'll have the link to that in the comment section and description of this video. But let's get things rolling off with my guy Anthony Raza. What's going on, man? He asked, we supposed to have $6.2 million left in cap space. We can perhaps assign a cornerback, but don't expect top shelf. Yeah, I 100% agree, Anthony. And you're right on the money. I don't expect Joe Shane to go out and sign a cornerback that's really going to be asking for a lot of money. I mean, at this point in the game, with the corners that are still available, you got guys like Xavier Rhodes. You have guys like Kevin King from the Green Bay Packers. The players that are still available in free agency, they're not really going to cash in and get a lot of money. You can get one of those guys or someone that's still on the streets available for a 1-year veteran minimum type of deal, maybe $2 million, maybe $2.5, $3 million, and lace it with some incentives, some playing time incentives, and some performance-based incentives. I would like for the Giants to go out and add another veteran corner. Because when you look at this corner depth chart, there's a lot of rookies on this team. There's a lot of young guys, a lot of unproven talent on this team. That doesn't mean they can't get the job done. But I haven't seen it from them. And if you were to add a guy, maybe a veteran like Jimmy Smith that's been in the Wink Martindale defense, he could teach a guy like Aaron Robinson what it takes to play in this scheme. He could teach him this scheme. You have Rodarius Williams as well, who's young. Cordell Flott, he's a rookie. Darnay Holmes, he's entering his 2nd year. Then you added some veteran guys like Maurice Kennedy, who's looking good in Giants OTAs. But to answer your question, Anthony, yes, I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants go out and sign another corner, but it's not going to be for a lot of money. Rosario Guzzo, what's going on, man? Can the Giants win 9 games? 100% the Giants can win 9 games. The Giants have one of the easiest schedules in the NFL right now. Based off of the 2022 Vegas win projections and what those look like, the Giants have the easiest schedule in the NFL. When you look at the Giants' schedule, there's a lot of winnable games. They can beat the Panthers. They can beat the Bears. They can beat the Jaguars. They can beat the Seahawks. They can beat the Texans. They can beat the Lions. They can beat the Commanders. They can beat the Eagles. You can split with the Dallas Cowboys. The Giants have one of the easiest schedules in the NFL. But to win 9 games, that means you have to have consistency, you got to be healthy, and you got to get better every single game. And Daniel Jones has to play like the player we thought he was going to be coming out of Duke when he was a first-round draft pick. I have faith in Daniel Jones. When I did my record prediction video, I had the Giants winning 9 games. I think the ceiling is 9 to 10 games, where the floor is 6 to 7 wins for the Giants this year. But I appreciate your question, my guy. Anthony C., what's going on? Should the Giants sign Quan Alexander? That's a good question. I think that's a very fair question. The Giants' inside linebacker room, in my opinion, is one of the biggest question marks on this roster. I'm a big fan of Blake Martinez. He's a leader. He's a captain. But after that, there's question marks. There's the young guys, and we'll break that down. But when you look at what Quan Alexander did last year in the NFL, where he played 12 games, he had 50 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, and he also had 1 forced fumble. The thing I like about Quan Alexander is he's an athletic linebacker that likes to play sideline to sideline, and he's someone that can also drop into coverage and give you a little bit of help there. Because when you look at this Giants inside linebacking depth chart, you have Blake Martinez, you have Tay Crowder. The thing is, I'm more convinced that Tay Crowder is a supplemental piece to a linebacker room instead of your starting inside linebacker alongside Blake Martinez. I like Carter Coughlin. I like Darian Beavers. I like Micah McFadden. Cam Brown is a good special teams piece. But if you can get another dog alongside Blake Martinez, whether that's Quan Alexander or someone else in free agency, I think that group would elevate and it would be better for it and it would help the rest of the defense. I'm tired of seeing different players at that inside linebacker room. I want to go back to the days of Antonio Pierce, where the Giants were one of the best linebacking cores in the NFL. But I'll leave this question up to you, Giants fans. Should the Giants sign Quan Alexander? Look, if it's for a 1-year veteran minimum deal, sign him up, bring him to camp, and let's have a competition. But let's hear from you. Type S for sign, or you can go down in the comment section and type P for pass. I want to give a shout out to today's presenting sponsor, Aura. They have an all-in-one digital safety tool to protect you online, because we do more online now than ever. They offer financial fraud protection, identity theft protection, online and device security protection, and they also offer family plans up to protect 5 people. And you can get started today with a 14-day free trial at aura.com/chatsports. Look, everybody knows we're online, our information is online, and you need to protect yourself online, because the scammers and the people out there that want to steal your information are getting smarter every single day, and Aura is a tool to help you and protect you from those people. So get started today, aura.com/chatsports, a 14-day free trial. Look, if you don't like it, you can cancel at any time, absolutely 100% free. Anthony Raza with the super chat, my guy, I appreciate you, 5 bones. The best part of these New York Giants is Judge has 0 hands in it. I 100% agree. I love the fact that Joe Judge is no longer a part of this organization. I liked what he did in his first season as the Giants head coach. He brought some respectability back. They won some games they shouldn't have won. But he played a brand of football that I felt like just wasn't consistent, something that you couldn't duplicate. The Giants, they like to back into wins when Joe Judge was the head coach. They would punt on 4th down consistently. They would never go for the win. Sometimes you just got to lay it all out there and say, I'm the better football team, and I'm going to prove it today. Whereas Joe Judge said, I'm going to try to make less mistakes than your team did today and back into wins. I mean, after the Giants ran QB sneaks on 2nd and 8 and 3rd and 8, backed up against their goal line, I was out on Joe Judge. I'm glad he's gone, and I think it's pretty funny that he might actually be the offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots this year. Say a prayer for Mac Jones, because that's going to get pretty ugly if he's calling the plays on Sunday. Anthony, I appreciate the super chat. Naz, if Saquon can be healthy all year, can we make the playoffs? I'm not sure the two questions or the two things that you said really have correlation. Because look, we're in a day and age of the NFL where you have to win games by converting 3rd and 8, converting 3rd and 10. And that comes down to the quarterback. But look, if Saquon Barkley gives you 17 games of healthy football this season, that will mean the Giants' offense is better. That makes life for Daniel Jones better. Because look, when you have a healthy Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones, excuse me, can just dump it off into the flat, and Saquon can get loose. This is someone you want to get the ball to in any way, shape possible. Handoffs, dump passes, screen passes. I'm expecting Saquon Barkley this year to be used more so as a receiver. Brian Daboll has talked about that. So don't be surprised when you see Matt Breida and Saquon Barkley on the field at the same time, with Breida in the backfield and Barkley split out as a wide receiver. I do think, though, Naz, if Saquon gives you 17 games of healthy football, this will be one of the best years of his career, because this is going to be by far the best offensive line he's run behind, with Glowinski, Andrew Thomas, and Evan Neal. Naz, I appreciate your question, my guy. Randy J, what up, bro? Do you think Jashaun Corbin will make the roster? Jashaun Corbin's the undrafted free agent running back out of Florida State, who had Brian Daboll singing the praises of him in rookie minicamp. I'm a big fan of Jashaun Corbin. He somewhat reminds me of Ahmad Bradshaw, a 6-foot running back, 200 pounds, that some people might say, look at him, that's a scat back. Not at all. Corbin is a downhill runner that likes to get those dirty yards, run in between tackles, and run through arm tackles. When you look at this Giants running back depth chart, Saquon Barkley is RB1. Matt Breida, he's going to be RB2. After that, it's a question mark. Is Gary Brightwell going to make this roster? The former 5th-round pick out of Arizona last year under Dave Gettleman. We really didn't see a lot from him. He only contributed a little bit on special teams. Antonio Williams, he was at rookie minicamp for the Giants. He has some ties to Brian Daboll and Joe Shane due to his time in Buffalo, but he's not a rookie, so he's competing for a roster spot as well. If Jashaun Corbin goes into preseason and shows that he can run hard, I think there's absolutely a chance that he can make this roster as the Giants' 3rd running back. I also like the fact that he can contribute on special teams. He's a kick returner, and he's a punt returner, and he's been working on those skills at minicamp and at OTAs so far. But if the 3rd running back spot comes between Gary Brightwell and Jashaun Corbin, I want you Giants fans watching this video to make the call. Which one makes the roster, in your opinion? Type GB for Gary Brightwell, or you can down in the comments section and type JC for Jashaun Corbin. And look, once the Giants start to make moves with the roster, if they sign any more free agents, if they make any more cuts, we are going to be breaking it down on this channel, youtube.com/NYGiantsTV. Look, free daily videos around the latest Giants news and rumors. We are pushing out more content than anybody else when it comes to covering the Giants. So join us, lock us in, hit that big red button. We're at 9.3 thousand subscribers, and I want to get to 10K as soon as possible. We're 630 away. So if you haven't yet, go hit that big red button and help us get to 10,000 subscribers here on Giants Now by Chat Sports. Timothy Frith, one of the most awesome commenters on the channel. He's always got cool situations and very long comments. I appreciate it, Timothy. I love reading those. But yeah, should the Giants trade Darius Slayton and a 2023 first-rounder to the Ravens for Marcus Peters? I would say no. I would not make that trade. I like Marcus Peters a lot. I think he's one of the most fun corners in the NFL. I like the aggressive nature and the ball hawk type of style he plays. But he's a 30-year-old cornerback coming off a torn ACL. And for a corner that relies on a position that relies on quickness, athleticism, and burst, to already be 30 and coming off an ACL injury, in my opinion, is not worth giving up a 2023 first-round pick, because you could use that pick next year to go get one of the better corners in that draft. That's a position the Giants need help at for sure, so I understand your thought process there, Timothy. But at the end of the day, giving up a first-round pick for Marcus Peters doesn't really make all that much sense to me and for the current state of the New York Giants. And he's on the last year of his deal, so you'd have to give him a big contract extension as well as giving up a first-round pick. I'm out on that deal, but I appreciate it, Timothy. Mr. NY Stadium, BD4, what's going on, man? Love seeing you in the comments section. Do you think Kayvon Thibodeau will be a better defensive player than Micah Parsons? The Giants fan in me says damn right he is. Kayvon Thibodeau is going to be better than Micah Parsons. But I'm going to have to see it on Sundays before I go out on a limb and say I guarantee it. Because what Micah Parsons did in his rookie year, where he had 13 sacks, and he just defied what rookies are supposed to do in their first year on the defensive side of the football. I mean, he did everything. He lined up on the edge. He lined up at inside linebacker. He did absolutely everything for the Cowboys. Him and Micah Parsons and Kayvon Thibodeaux are different players. Thibodeaux, he's going to line up on the edge every single snap of his career for the Giants, and he's going to be asked to go after and get the quarterback. That doesn't mean I don't think he's going to be a great player, because I do think Thibodeaux is going to be a great player. The thing is, Micah Parsons might just be the best defensive player in football, but I could see Kayvon Thibodeaux going for 10 sacks in his rookie year, Mr. NY. Last question in this mailbag from Slippery Sam. What position will be the biggest need in the 2023 NFL Draft? #Giants. I think it's going to depend on what's going to come and play this year. If we can see a big improvement from the interior offensive line, from the left guard spot and the center spot, I would lead at the cornerback room, for the simple fact that there's really not a lot of proven talent in that room. I'm a big fan of Adoree Jackson, but is he ready to be a cornerback one? Travel and guard opposing wide receiver ones week in and week out. Is Aaron Robinson ready to be a cornerback too, after being a third-round pick, picked in the third or fourth round last year out of Central Florida, was a slot corner. Now he's going to be asked to play on the outside. I like Darnay Holmes. I don't know if he's a long-term starter. Cordell Flott, I have to see what he's going to be able to do this year after being selected in the draft this past year out of LSU. I have high upside and I have high thoughts for this cornerback room, but in next year, say you have a top 15 pick, top 20 pick in the NFL draft in 2023, and there's a great corner on the board, go out and take him. But we have to remember, Joe Schoen is taking the best player available on the board every single time when he's in the NFL draft. So while I would go after a corner, if there's a better outside linebacker, a better safety, a better wide receiver on the board, I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Schoen makes that move. But we'll end this mailbag with this question, Giants fans. What position group on the roster are you most worried about for the 2022 NFL season? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you later on the next New York Giants Now. We'll give some shout-outs here in a second. Let me get some water real quick. Pierre says, I wanted Parsons. I did. I liked Micah Parsons a lot coming out of Penn State last year, but I'm cool with what the Giants did by trading down, getting Kadarius Toney, and getting the Chicago Bears pick this year in the NFL draft. I mean, look, Kadarius Toney and Evan Neal, I'm not sure they'll ever be better than Micah Parsons, but that they both have potential, in my opinion, to be great football players in the NFL. If you haven't yet, give me a follow over on Twitter, @MarshallGreen_. We're gaining some followers over there, so shout out to you guys for that. But we're trying to get to 1,400 followers by the end of today's show. If you haven't given me a follow yet, show me some love. The link to my Twitter is in the live chat of today's show. Click on it, give me a follow. I'll make sure to give you a follow back. And then at the end of today's show, everybody that gives me a follow, I'll shout you out at the end of today's show and give you some love. All righty, segment number 2, we're going to be talking about the latest Giants news and rumors around Darius Slayton and Wan'Dale Robinson. So let's get to it. Welcome in to New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green, and in today's show, we're going to be breaking down the Giants' latest news and rumors. But first, I want to give a shout out to today's presenting sponsor, Aura, an all-in-one digital safety tool that will help you protect yourself online, and you can get started with a 14-day free trial at aura.com/chatsports. I'll put the link to that in the comment section and description of this video, and I'll tell you more about them in just a couple of minutes. But to start today's show, let's talk about Wan'Dale Robinson, the rookie wide receiver out of Kentucky, the second-round draft pick in 2022. A guy that a lot of Giants fans, once he was picked, was booed for the simple fact that they didn't think he was going to go in the second round. A lot of people had him as a third or fourth round guy. He's 5'8". A lot of 5'8" receivers don't make it in the NFL. But Wan'Dale Robinson is already impressing opposing Giants players on the roster, and as well as the head coach, Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll spoke about Robinson at OTAs, and this is what he had to say about the rookie pass catcher out of Kentucky. He said, I think he can play inside. And I think he's strong enough and fast enough. And even though he's a smaller, shorter guy, that he can contribute outside too. Again, what we're trying to do is put as many generating pieces out there to create pace and stretch the field, whether it be vertical or horizontally. And this is another good guy that has the ability to run after the catch, which is an important aspect of it. And you can see that's the type of player the Giants, they want on this roster. They want generators with the football, as Joe Shane would call it. And what does that mean? That means you can throw Wan'Dale Robinson a screen route, a slant route, a 1-yard drag route, and he can make plays with the ball in his hand. A yak type of receiver. Yards after catch. That's going to be important for the Giants this year. The Giants, they want to play with speed and space. They want to scheme guys open, whether, like Brian Daboll said, it's on vertical passing routes or it's on horizontal passing routes. Whatever you can do to get your playmakers like Wan'Dale Robinson or Darius Slayton the ball in space where they can go out and work, that's going to make life for Daniel Jones and life for this Giants offense much easier. When you look at what Wan'Dale Robinson did in the SEC last year at Kentucky, he was one of the best receivers in the SEC. 104 grabs, 1,300 receiving yards, 12.8 yards per pop, and he also had 7 touchdowns. This is someone that can be used in multiple ways. He can stretch the field. He can run screen routes. He can get out of the backfield. He can take handoffs. He started his college career as a running back. Then he shifted to being a wide receiver, and he was one of the best in the SEC last year. He is an absolute yards after the catch generator. Last year, 22 forced missed tackles, which was 6th in the NCAA. He also had 16 deep catches. A lot of people, in my opinion, are asleep on what Wan'Dale Robinson can do as a field stretcher vertically down the field. He had 553 deep yards, which was 12th in college football last year. He's also someone that can be used in the screen game, where he had 35 catches on those type of plays for 268 yards. Wan'Dale Robinson is the type of player that's going to be used in a whole bunch of different ways in this Brian Daboll and Mike Kafka offense. Don't be surprised if you see Wan'Dale Robinson lined up in the shotgun next to a guy like Daniel Jones, or he's in the slot, or he's on the outside, or he's in the backfield with Saquon Barkley. If you think about the type of playmakers that have played in Kansas City and for the Buffalo Bills the past couple of years, Wan'Dale Robinson fits that mold to a T. Why am I bringing this up? Mike Kafka. He comes from Kansas City. Brian Daboll, he comes from Buffalo. I'm not saying that Wan'Dale Robinson is Tyreek Hill, but he kind of plays like him. He plays a lot like Mecole Hardman. He possesses some very similar skills that Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley do. And he's also going to be used in a very creative way like Isaiah McKenzie, on jet sweeps, on handoffs, on pitch plays. All these guys on screen are smaller receivers. Don't let the size fool you with Wan'Dale Robinson. We've already seen him in OTAs go up and snag on players like Aaron Robinson. I like a lot what I've seen from Wan'Dale Robinson. Right now, I have him as wide receiver 5, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't be surprised if he moves up to being the Giants' 3rd wide receiver by the end of this season. Kenny Golladay, Sterling Shepard, Kadarius Slayton. We all know those type of receivers have had injury issues in the past. Darius Slayton, I have him as wide receiver 4, slightly above Wan'Dale Robinson for now, just for the simple fact that he's been in the NFL a couple years. But I love what Wan'Dale Robinson is going to bring to this offense. It's going to be exciting. Him, Kadarius Slayton on the field at the same time. That's going to be the most electric offense the Giants have had at the wide receiver position in a very long time. Maybe since the trio of Mario Manningham, Victor Cruz, and Hakeem Nicks. That's how special this kid and this group has the potential to be. But to end the topic on talking on Wan'Dale Robinson, let's play a little game. I want to ask you a question. 5 touchdowns for the rookie wide receiver out of Kentucky. Will he have more? Will he have less? Type O in the comment section for over, or if you think he has less than 5 touchdowns, you can go down in the comment section and type U for under. I also want to tell you about today's presenting sponsor, Aura. They're an online digital safety tool to protect you from the frauds and the scammers out there. Look, we're online more than ever. Our information is out there. All of our stuff, our personal information is out there. And you need to be protected with your information online. They offer financial fraud protection, identity theft protection, online as well as device security protection, and they offer family plans up to protect 5 people. Look, keep your identity secure with extensive monitoring of your personal info. Nobody likes it when their identity gets stolen, when people hack into your credit card. You hate dealing with that. The phone calls, the time, it takes too much of your time. It eats away from your peace, and it's very, very stressful. So get started today with the 14-day free trial that you can cancel at any time. Just go to aura.com/chatsports and get hooked up with them. Story number 2 on today's show, Darius Slayton. He's had trade rumors. He's had rumors of him being a cut candidate. But what he's done at OTAs so far, the Giants' first 7 practices, has kind of changed the narrative amongst Giants media and what Darius Slayton is and the type of player and if he's going to be on the roster for the Giants last year. Slayton has been linked in trade rumors because his salary has gone up from $900,000 to $2.5 million for how much he's played and how well he's played after being a 5th-round pick out of Auburn just a couple of years ago. He has been mentioned as a cut candidate, as a trade candidate. But what he's done in OTAs has made people second-guess that. Look, I understand Kadarius Toney, Sterling Shepard, and Kenny Golladay haven't been able to really participate because they've been wearing the red non-contact practice jerseys, but that's not Darius Slayton's problem. All he can do is control what he can control. He's been out there, he's been productive, and he's already caught the eye of Brian Daboll. I'll tell you more about what Brian Daboll had to say about Darius Slayton in a second, but I want to remind you guys to go down right now and hit that big red button. Subscribe to Giants Now by Chat Sports so you can get hooked up with free daily videos on the latest Giants news and rumors. We pride ourselves on being one of the most interactive Giants YouTube channels out there through live shows, Q&As, and chopping it up in the comments section. So if you haven't joined the squad yet, what are you waiting for? Go down right now, hit that big red button, and join the fam here at Giants Now by Chat Sports. Zach Rosenblatt, who's a beat reporter for the New York Giants, one of the best in the game. I really appreciate following him on Twitter. He helps me stay up to date with Giants news and rumors. This is what he said a couple of weeks ago about Darius Slayton. He said, "It feels like a foregone conclusion that the Giants cut or trade Darius Slayton at some point before the start of the season. Doing so would save $2.5 million, as Slayton is making a bit too much to be a 5th wide receiver on this depth chart." And look, I understand that thought process because the Giants right now, they are cap strapped. They just had to cut James Bradberry to sign their rookies. But in my opinion, if Darius Slayton is going to be productive, which, all signs are pointing to after what we've seen in OTAs, $2.5 million for a wide receiver 4 or a wide receiver 5 to go along some wide receivers like Golladay, Shepard, and Toney that have had injury issues in the past, I don't think it's the worst idea. Maybe you could trade a guy like Darius Slayton to the Baltimore Ravens for a guy like Chuck Clark. I'd be down for that. But just to cut Darius Slayton and get nothing in return except for $2.5 million in salary cap space, which are just going to roll over into next year, doesn't make that much sense to me. If you get a future late-round draft pick, that makes a little bit more sense. Because what I've seen from Darius Slayton, just go look at what he did his rookie year in 2019, where he had 48 receptions, was asked to be a wide receiver 1, had 740 yards, and 8 touchdowns as a rookie. Then he took a little bit of a step back in 2020, had 2 more receptions, played a little bit more, but he didn't match the 8 touchdowns that he had. He had 3 touchdowns. He started off strong that year against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but then in 2021, I feel like his confidence took a step back. He wasn't asked to do the same things, had to take a little bit step back in a role with the additions of Kenny Golladay and Kadarius Toney. I don't think the offense Jason Garrett ran benefited Darius Slayton, whereas I think the offense that Kafka and Daboll are going to put together will benefit Slayton more. He's going to get back to being that deep threat on the outside. Run the post, run the goes, be the field stretcher. So for that reason, I think I would hold on to Darius Slayton, but I want to leave it up to you guys before I give you my opinion on this topic. What should the Giants do with our guy D. Slayton, number 86? Let me know in the comment section. You can go down and type K for keep if you want to keep him on this roster, or if you think it's time for the Giants to trade Darius Slayton and let guys like Wan'Dale Robinson, Toney, Golladay get more reps. That's completely fair. You can go down in the comment section, type T for trade. We've seen it. Darius Slayton has the talent to be successful in the National Football League. His rookie season, he showed the ability to line up on the outside and just run by DBs, be that field stretcher, be the deep threat. Him and Daniel Jones have built up a rapport. 8 touchdowns his rookie year. Then he was asked to do a little bit more in his sophomore campaign, and then a little bit less in his third year, and he took a step back. But what he's doing in his 4th year at Giants OTAs, with no Kadarius Toney, with no Kenny Golladay, and no Sterling Shepard, he's catching the eye of Brian Daboll. And this is what Dabes had to say about Darius Slayton, his performance so far at Giants OTAs. He said, he's been dependable. He's known what to do. He doesn't talk a whole lot. Pretty quiet guy, but a pro. I've got a lot of respect for him, how he handles his business, both on and off the field. He's done a good job. Brian Daboll respects the hard work that Darius Slayton puts in. And look, when you have a new head coach, you have a new offensive coordinator, and you have a new GM, they've all sung the same song. Everyone has a clean slate starting this year. What Darius Slayton did last year, and the drops, and then the not living up to expectations, doesn't matter. Because a guy like Brian Daboll is going to put the best receivers on the field that have earned the playing time, people that he can trust, that know the offense, and have chemistry with Daniel Jones. And that's what Darius Slayton has. We've seen it. They came into the NFL at the same time. They worked together in rookie minicamp. And that greatly paid off in their rookie season when Darius Slayton had 8 touchdowns. I know we've talked about it on the show, that the Giants could cut or trade Darius Slayton. But if you could keep a 5th wide receiver on this roster to go along with a wide receiver core that's had a couple injury issues in the past, I don't think it's the worst idea to hang on to a guy like Darius Slayton. But at this point in the show, and to wrap up today's show, I want to show Darius Slayton some love. The reason is he's been with the Giants for now 3 years. This will be year number 4. He's been healthy. He's been out there. He plays hard. He reps the Giants on social media, and he never misses a practice. He's there at Giants OTAs. He's there at Giants minicamp. He's there at voluntary workouts. That's what I love about Darius Slayton, because he's going to voluntarily show up to those workouts when the trade rumors and the cut rumors are out there. I feel like as Giants fans, we should respect that and show him some love. So type 86 in the comments section. I want to see a whole bunch of 86s down there showing our guy Darius Slayton love. I'll be giving shout-outs to anyone that types number 86, Darius Slayton, on today's show. Karen, yes, he's very vocal on Twitter. He reps the Giants. He also called out the Kardashians, so kind of respect that a little bit. Davey says, don't sleep on Sandro Platzgummer for a roster spot. Yeah, Sandro's not going to make the 53-man roster, but he will be on the Giants practice squad. He's a part of the International Player Pathway Program, and with those guys, you get an extra spot on that roster for him. John says, all those folks predicting 9 or 10 wins. Did you watch this team last year? I'll be happy with 6 or 7 at most. John, you know what's awesome? This isn't the same team from last year. I hope you're sitting down for that. And we got some 86s showing some love. Karen, Gravity, Pierre, Rosario, Jersey, 53, the heavyweight champion of the world. Type in 86. Dave Jones says, 86. Don't screw this up. Alrighty, we're about to get into another Giants mailbag to wrap up today's show. If your question didn't get answered on the first mailbag, no sweat. We're coming back around with another one. Just get in the comments section, ask your questions. Make sure you use hashtag Giants to signal to my producer and our software to get you on today's show. Alrighty. You ready to roll, Petey? Do we have enough? Do we need another push? Hey, look, my producer said we need a little another push. If you haven't yet, make sure to ask a question in the comments section. I like hearing from you guys. Look, this show, Chat Sports, we can't chat about sports if you guys don't ask me questions. So whatever it may be, whatever it's about, doesn't matter. Just get in the comments section and ask a question using hashtag Giants right now. Welcome into New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green, and in today's show, we're going to do a Giants Rumors mailbag, where you guys ask questions on our live show this past Wednesday at 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you go down and hit that big red button, right now. Help us get to 10,000 subscribers and turn your notifications on so you can join us on our live show where we like to party and talk about the latest Giants news and rumors. This first question coming in from my guy Pierre. What's up, bro? In this league, what will $2.5 million get you? That's a good point. And look, if it's going to bring you enough money to go out and maybe sign someone in free agency. And for the Giants, it may go and get you another corner. Maybe you can go out and sign a guy like Jimmy Smith, or you can go out and sign a guy like Kevin King. And if you don't want to spend that money, it'll also help you maintain flexibility during the season. Remember last year, the Giants, they were having to restructure contracts mid-season. Yes, mid-season, so they could fill out a 53-man roster on Sunday. While you may not go out and spend that $2.5 million on a player or use that money to add someone in a trade, it helps you stay flexible during the season if you need to go and sign someone that's hurt, replace someone that's hurt. Say Saquon Barkley gets hurt, you need to go out and sign another running back. It just adds you the opportunity to go out and stay flexible and maybe add another player throughout the process. Great question, Pierre. I appreciate you asking. Danny McBee, what up, bro? Are people sleeping on Leonard Williams? I love Leonard Williams. I'm a big fan of his. I hated the trade that Dave Gettleman made for him to come over from the Jets to the Giants. But once he put on that Giants blue, I was in 100% support of him because at the end of the day, he is a damn good football player. Go look at what he did in the 2020 season, where he had 11.5 sacks, 16 tackles for loss, and 30 QB hits as an interior defensive lineman. Those are Aaron Donald type numbers. You can say I'm over-exaggerating or I'm boosting, but it's not. Anytime someone, that's a 3 technique, plays nose tackle, doesn't line up on the outside like Leonard Williams does, to have 11.5 sacks and then 6.5 sacks and 5 sacks back in 2018, Leonard Williams is a big-time player. And when you look at him stacked up to finally have some help on this Giants defensive line with Dexter Lawrence, Azeez Ojulari, and Kayvon Thibodeau, and this new defensive scheme with Wink Martindale running the show, offensive lines aren't going to be able to game plan to just solely stop Leonard Williams. You can't just double team him anymore because the Giants, they are going to be very exotic in the ways that they get after the quarterback. They're going to be blitzing more than you've seen them do in a very long time. Giants defense is going to be fun to watch this year, and I think Leonard Williams is going to be the biggest beneficiary of the defensive scheme change. When you bring in Wink Martindale, he's going to open it up for players to get one-on-one looks in pass block situations, and that's where Leonard Williams can absolutely dominate people. I want to ask this question, though. A little bit of a game, over-under. 8 sacks for Leonard Williams. We've seen him do it before. We've seen him have more than 8 sacks, but I want to leave it all up to everyone watching today's show. Type O for over, or if you think he's going to have less than 8 sacks, you could type U for under. The big moo. Is that a purple cow? So what do we got? Grape milk? According to my guy Jonesy out there. Hashtag Giants. Who would you like to call offensive plays? This is a good question, and I think it's something that all Giants fans are talking about and a little bit worried about. Brian Daboll came to the Giants because of what he did as a play caller for the Buffalo Bills. But Mike Kafka is now the Giants' offensive coordinator because of what he did and learned from a guy like Andy Reid. In Kansas City, it was Andy Reid, then it was Mike Kafka. I know that there was talk of Eric Bieniemy being number 2 behind Andy Reid, but it was Mike Kafka. Kafka developed the relationship with Patrick Mahomes. He sat with him. He worked with him. He implemented those exotic and schemes that they like to run with the speed and space. Honestly, I'd be cool with whichever one called the plays because I know it's going to be a joint effort. They're going to work together to get the game plans for Sundays. But if I had to make a decision, I would want it to be Brian Daboll for the fact that he's done it before. He's been in the conference championship trying to get to a Super Bowl, called plays, been effective. He's been there and done that. So give me Daboll just for the simple fact that he's experienced and he's done it in the biggest games of the NFL. If you haven't yet, go down right now, hit that big red button. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers here on the channel. We're almost there, and we need your help. Look, if you love the Giants, and if you love watching Giants content on YouTube, I promise you, you will not regret subscribing to this channel because that's all we do. We talk about everything under the sun when it comes to the New York Football Giants. Free videos every single day. So lock us in. Go down right now. Hit that big red button. Cody M, should the Giants sign Odell Beckham Jr.? Is this a question that's just never going to go away for Giants fans? I understand. I love me some OBJ. Anyone that knows me knows I'm a big fan of what Odell was for the Giants. He made the Giants fun. He made the Giants watchable. He made the Giants, with Benny McAdoo as the head coach, reach the playoffs. I love Odell Beckham Jr. But when you look at this Giants depth chart and the fact that Odell's coming off an ACL injury, his second ACL injury, is there really a spot for him on this team? When is he going to be ready? Is this going to be someone that's going to sit out until November, December? And when he does, I think he's going to be trying to come back to a team that can compete for a Lombardi trophy. And while I want to believe and say that the Giants are going to be able to do that, I don't think that's eventually going to be the play for the Giants this past year. But let's take a trip down memory lane. Because look, I feel like Odell gets a lot of hate from a lot of Giants fans. And I think that's fair. I think he kind of wore out his welcome a little bit. But what he did from 2014 to 2016 in his first 3 seasons in the NFL, nobody can take away what the kid did. For someone to say at this point, Odell Beckham is just a catch, it's not even close to true. Odell Beckham from 2014 to 2016 was arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL. He made life for Giants fans fun on Sundays. Everyone enjoyed watching number 13 play for the New York Football Giants. Maybe one day down the road he'll suit up and wear blue 13 again, but this year I don't think the Giants are going to be looking to bring back OBJ. I want to ask you guys to show some love and give us some love over on Rumble. We just crossed over 2,000 subscribers and followers over there. Look, free, uncensored content on the latest Giants news and rumors. We put our videos up there every single day. Sports, news, politics, tech. It's a very similar site to YouTube. And now Giants Now content is being posted over there. So give us a follow, rumble.com/NYGiantsTV. Karen, I hope I'm saying it right. Are the Giants concerned with Shep's head injuries? I think the Giants are concerned with any injury issue that comes to Sterling Shepard. We know that the head injuries and the concussion injuries have popped up again, time and time again for Sterling Shepard, and it sucks. No one wants to see a player go through that type of stuff. And head injuries are something you don't want to play with. If Sterling Shepard has another concussion in his career, he might have to think about shutting it down. I'm also concerned about his ability to just stay on the field. Coming off of the career or the season-ending injury last year, who knows if he's going to be ready at week 1? Who knows if he's going to stay healthy? But I do know this. When Sterling Shepard is healthy, when he's in between the line on Sundays, wearing number 3, that guy is a damn good football player. I don't care what anybody says. Go back and watch week 1 against the Denver Broncos. He tore up that secondary. Patrick Surtain had no chance guarding him. Do you not remember the 25-yard in route that Sterling Shepard ran, caught it, got upfield, and scored? Shepard is a baller. He's a vet. He's the most tenured player on this Giants team. I love Sterling Shepard, but I am 100% concerned with his inability to stay on the field. I appreciate the question, Karen. Rosario, what's up, man? Will the Giants get over 40 sacks? That's going to be a lofty goal for sure, but I definitely think that with Wink Martindale as the defensive coordinator, they're going to be getting after the quarterback a whole bunch more than we've seen in the past couple of years for the Giants. I love what Martindale's going to do, and he's got some big-time edge rushers to help him get there. You have Azeez Ojulari, who had 8 sacks last year. You have Leonard Williams, who has the potential to be a double-digit sack guy. And you also have Kayvon Thibodeau, who was just picked in the top 5 of the 2022 NFL draft. You have 3 players right there that could all get above double-digit sacks. So 40 sacks as a team, I think it's realistic, but it's definitely going to have to be a damn good season for the Giants to reach that goal. I appreciate you, Rosario. Last question from Peaches45. Who do you think will be the Giants' starting tight end? This is a good question. I think this is one of the biggest positional battles that Giants fans and the Giants coaching staffs are going to be looking for in the rest of OTAs and as we get to training camp and then once we get into the preseason. Right now, when you look at the depth chart, Ricky Seals-Jones is your starting tight end. I'm a big fan of his. I like what he's done in his NFL career. He just hasn't put it all together for a couple of years in a row. I like what he did with the Washington football team a couple of years ago, but I would not be surprised if Daniel Bellinger, the rookie, 4th-round pick, comes in and takes his job. Because when you look at what Ricky Seals-Jones has done in his time in the NFL, it's just been 2017, 12 catches. 2018, 34 catches. 2019, 14 catches. 2020, he didn't get any burn. 2021 this past year, he had 30 grabs for 2 touchdowns. He had that touchdowns against the Giants on Thursday night where he went over the top of Adoree Jackson in the end zone. I like Ricky Seals-Jones for kind of the receiver skill set that he brings to the tight end room, but I would not be surprised at all. Week 8, Week 9, Daniel Bellinger is getting more snaps than a guy like Ricky Seals-Jones. But we'll end today's show and today's Giants mailbag with this question, Giants fans. Let me know in the comments section. Who do you think is going to have more receiving touchdowns in the 2022 NFL season? Is it going to be Ricky Seals-Jones? Type RS in the comments section. Or do you think it's going to be the rookie, Daniel Bellinger? You can go down in the comments section and type DB. Daniel Bellinger has been getting a lot of burn. He's been playing with the ones at OTAs. I've got a lot of hopes for him, but I don't know if he's going to be ready his rookie season to be a big-time playmaker and a big-time impact player for the Giants. Tight ends, inside linebackers, and corners. That's the 3 position groups that I want to see the Giants get better at this season and then address in the 2023 offseason. I appreciate everyone that's clicked on today's show. If you haven't yet, go down right now, hit that big red button. Because, look, we're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. It's been a long way to get here, but look, we're a family here, and we can't get there without your help. So if you love what we do, tell a friend to join the squad. Go down right now, hit that big red button.